Right, in this case I have to give some credit where it's due, and it's somebody's channel that I just came across from typing my name in to see if anybody had made a video on me, good or bad. Anyway, his channel name is Sentforth5, and it's him that's put me onto this idea. It's just an improvement on my work, yeah. So it's not going to be in my other playlist where I'm expanding on other people's work. This is my work. I have put mentioned something like enamel going on to artifacts before, which we will get to. I am going to speed through all this first section because I have shown you all these images before through various videos. I don't like doing that ever, but I have to do to get to the second part of the video, right? So that's what it's about. But even though this is the only one where I will say that this was some type of wooden artifact, I've made 2 videos on the Egyptian statues, and this one was obviously buried in some type of sediment, and whether or not it's petrified or it's an imprint, but this is completely petrified. Okay, it wasn't carved from the substance that you're looking at right now. This stuff, when you go check the videos that I made there, I've only got about 3 on these statues. You can see that there is a, let's say, a 3mm layer of this fake granite substance, the substance that's got all the little bits in it. There's no grain in it whatsoever. It's a layering that they put over this stuff, whether or not that happened from the flood or it's something like I'm going to get into. This thing is in a museum, and everybody I've seen show this, like your Brian Foresters and that, say that this is it's stone. It's some type of andesite, but again, I've mentioned this before. This black stone, just pure black, does not exist anywhere in the world, right, unless it is petrified wood. But I mean, why does that look like that, for one thing, right? And on the next image, which is the same artifact, like I say, I'm speeding through this section for you to get to the second half. Right, so that is the same artifact, and we can zoom right in on this. This is the best image you will ever see on this, because they say that all the artifacts like this have been CNC'd, right, on a CNC machine. But I want you to take a close look at that, because that is not CNC imaging, is it? Precise, computerized CNC imaging, right, on stone, is it? And you get this lumpy effect as if it's been resprayed with some type of lacquer or something like a radiator paint, which is what I've got into with an artifact, well, with these actually. How these things are still shiny today, and everybody knows that when you cut natural granite, it eventually fades, right? It will never keep its shine. But again, this black stone doesn't exist. The museum people themselves have either sprayed it with something, some type of lacquer, boat polish, I don't care what it is, but it's not natural, right? Again, watch the videos on the series of 2 on Egyptian statues that I made. It's some of the finest work I've ever made. These are exactly the same. And if you think, doubting that I'm talking rubbish, that's a close-up of that area there. And again, does that look like CNC imaging to you? Or does it look like some type of wood or, paper mache? Something that's been resprayed over and over again. You can even see lines there where this thing has literally been carved out. It's woodwork. If you don't believe me, please go check the images on my Google page. this is the Pantheon in Rome, right? And everybody that goes there would think, and they will be told, that all this is granite, you know, various stones, you know, at the site. I don't know what, you know, I mean, but there's many different types here, but the main thing that we're going to look at is this roof here. So I've got this image for you, right? Now that is what it looked like originally, right? And somehow it's ended up looking like this. Now again, I don't think any of this is stone. You can go check it yourself. It's some type of enamel, which is what the video is about. But I will zoom in on this area down here for you. That is something like it's like crushed wood, and it goes down in a crisscross pattern, you know, like what you used to have in the 1930s, let's say 1960s, in your hallway, and it were like fake panels, you know, and you could bend it, you know, really cheap nasty stuff. That's what that is under there. You can see it, and it's just got this plaster over it that's hardened over time. It's plain as day. These are the pillars outside the Pantheon, and I want you to remember that there. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit closer. So you see this patchwork here that I pointed out on a video, because I've made a video on this specific site. Remember that patchwork there, because they're hollow. This thing here is the same area outside the Pantheon, and everything you're looking at there is made out of wood. These are wooden panels, right, that have been nailed into position. Every single piece you see here is wood, like I've pointed out before, and even these top plinths here, right, just in the same way that these are. And this is a workshop where they are just chopping pieces of wood, because if they weren't, they wouldn't just be on some makeshift you know, just something like that to hold up. I mean, if these were stone, they would weigh about 2 tons, wouldn't they? So there's something like balsa wood, like pine or balsa wood, that they will lacquer them in something which we have now figured out, and that's them there. And these things are completely hollow, like I showed you in a video. This thing in Greece or Rome, again, it's made out of wood. Yes, it will have had metal in it, of course, a metal frame, like we, you know, like we would today, and that's rusted through. But the top part is just wooden paneling, like what you would build a shed out of. This thing here, I can get very close on these. And when you look at that area there, remember this stuff, because you're going to see it shortly exactly what this stuff is, and what used to cover it is what I'm getting on about here. That's the forum, right? And when you look down here, all this is brick. These blocks are actually brick. They've just encased in a concrete, exactly the same as that, right? So if they couldn't build a solid base out of huge blocks, do you think that they would have been able to lift and raise these things on here if these were solid pieces of rock? Because they're not. That's why. This thing in Egypt down here, does that look like natural rock to anybody? That's what happens to concrete when it's been submerged in water for a long time. The lime gets sucked to the outside and you're just left with the grit and the sand. But that's not what the video's about. I just used that image from an earlier video. These are the pillars outside of the main, which is more recent, temple at Baalbek, and these will have had this. It's actually called Zolatone paint. Yeah, what we're going to be looking at is something called forks granite spray, Zolatone paint spray, epoxy, right, or enamel. Yeah, the Zolatone paint, you can have it here, you can even make it illuminous, you know, like some of the stuff that we've seen in not Peru, Bolivia. Yeah, anyway, this is the Thunderstone in Russia, and it's this area that we're going to look at down here. I've made a video on this, I don't want to get into it again. I suppose you can read that yourself in your own time. Okay, so read that yourself, and that's the area that I'm talking about, and the flooring. Okay.
Zolatone Lumination's metal and counterpoint sand tone can be repaired and touched up by either spraying or by using our Fast Fix method. Fast Fix patching material is a thin sticker that comes in sheets with a number of pre-cut random size irregular shapes, which can be sprayed at the time of installation. The sprayed sheets can be kept on hand, and when repair or touch-up is needed, simply peel off the Fast Fix sticker and apply to the damaged area. These are used for small areas and provide a fast fix when needed. For sprayed repairs, first repair the area with patching material if needed.
Overlap, right?
Light Vision glow-in-the-dark safety additive is a unique way to incorporate safety and wayfinding elements into any interior. A power outage can plunge a building's interior into total darkness. This could be a potentially life-threatening situation for the occupants. In the event of a power outage, walls, corridors, and other surfaces treated with Light Vision emit a soft light that illuminates the immediate area and helps guide people safely toward the exits. But what truly sets Light Vision apart is how great it looks. Other glow-in-the-dark paints have a yellow-green, sickly appearance that looks out of place in most environments. Light Vision can be mixed with Zolatone finishes to create a distinctive look that allows wayfinding elements to be seamlessly integrated into the interior. lights are on, it has the great look of Zolatone. If the lights go out, it helps people safely navigate their surroundings. Safe